Good morning. My name is Miss Lane, and I will be discussing today some fiction books that can be used in order to integrate social studies and literature. The first book that I would like to introduce to you would be The Color of Us. This book is about a young lady who is speaking with her mom about different colors of her friends and everybody in the community. With The Color of Us, you can also use a cluster diagram. This cluster diagram shows the color of us, and then it shows like different colors of different people in the community and in the neighborhood and of her friends. For example, on one of them, it says that Lena is cinnamon. This allows the students to be able to relate the color to something that they're familiar with due to the fact that it's for the lower age. This is probably a book that I would read maybe to kindergarten just to introduce them to the different colors of their friends. With doing this book, there's so many activities that can be done. For instance, they can create a journal. This journal says all about Kaylee Hampton. And in the journal, you can allow the students to really put expression on how they feel about their family. They can draw a picture of their family. They can draw a picture of their friends. And also something different or neat that they do as a group or a family activity. This will allow the students to really get involved with the different cultures. When it comes down to Native American history, and we all know that we must teach this in social studies about the Indians, one book that I love to read is Pocahontas. This is the Disney version of Pocahontas. This is very familiar for the children due to the fact that a lot of them have Disney movies in their collection, and they've probably seen this movie. But with the book Pocahontas, you can also create a Venn diagram. In the Venn diagram, I used Pocahontas, and I allowed it to describe Pocahontas and John Smith. Although Pocahontas seemed to have a lot different with John Smith, they also had some similarities. For instance, they both hated the fact that the English didn't get along with the Native Americans. They really wanted peace. With the book Pocahontas, you can also have your children to create very different artifacts or jewelry that the Indians used back at that time. And another book that I would really want to introduce, and I really think that you can read this to the upper class, such as maybe 4th or 5th grade. This is one of my favorite books that I read for myself and I really enjoyed. And it's called A Boy at War. With A Boy at War, this would probably be more on the 5th grade level due to the fact of the vocabulary, and it also talks about Pearl Harbor. This book allows Pearl Harbor to really come to life. It allows the children to actually walk down the streets of Hawaii before it was hit, and during the time it was hit, and after it was hit by the Japanese. In the book A Boy at War, it talks about a young man named Adam. He's a teenager. They're stationed in Hawaii because his dad lives in the ship and on the naval base. He works in the ship, but they live on the Navy base. With The Boy at War, they can create a T-chart which shows the comparisons and the differences of the Japanese and the Americans back in those days. The Japanese and Americans weren't friendly to each other. But Adam created a friendship with a young Japanese man. Well, actually, he was a boy, because he realized it's not the color of the skin, but it's really the person's heart. And also, just like we created the journal for culture, when we do the multicultural with The Color of Us, you can also have the fifth graders to really go in depth with the journal. Their journal can start with from when they first step foot on the island of Hawaii to when the bombs hit. They can really visualize pictures in their minds and describe it on paper with what they went through, how they hid, and their reactions. You can also put on the board, since they're older kids, the vocabulary words. I think it would be wise to display the vocabulary words before they actually read the story. This way, when you get to different vocabulary words in the book that they may not recognize or aren't familiar with, you can actually discuss it. And that was my last book, A Boy at War. I really want to appreciate you for allowing me this time to share some books that are fiction that you can also integrate in the classroom using literature and social studies. Good luck to you with your first year of teaching, and hopefully you'll put a couple of these books on your shelf.